This podcast is brought to you by Mapper Forward's new Patreon community, the Global Coffee Think Tank. Check the show notes or head to patreon.com/mapperforward to find out how you can become a member today. Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Coffee Pro Friends. We are joined by Mashael Alhumaidan. Welcome back, Mashael. We are talking about sensory science in the coffee world. And in the last episode, we spoke about what a sensory scientist is. In this episode, I'd love to talk about how the five senses are connected to coffee products. In your experience, what do most cafes and roasters focus on, and what are they missing when it comes to the senses?
All right. So basically, when we talk about senses, they're involved in every experience we have, whether it's coffee or any other beverage or any other consumable product, whether it's food or non-food also. But if we focus on the coffee, and I would specifically speak about the region I'm from, and particularly Riyadh city. So I would say that there is a lot missing in the experience. Like, there might be a focus on the presentation, the decoration, the reputation of the place. However, the product itself might need a lot of considerations, speaking about quality point of view, what are the perceived qualities of this product. Am I getting the right color that me as a consumer I want to see? Am I getting, the nice aromas that I want to smell in a cafe? Am I getting the right brewed coffee at the end of the day? And if I would say from my experience, no, the answer is no, unfortunately. As we were speaking a while ago, you get to experience every once in a while a new place, and specifically when something pops in your way to work or to your way to home, you really get excited to try it. However, every time you try something new, specifically when we're talking about coffee, I really get disappointed because the focus is really not on the product. I believe the focus is now about having a cafe. Everyone wants to have their cafes. They believe it's easy money. It's not that expensive from an ingredient and processing point of view. But at the end of the day, you as a consumer would never repeat this experience because it added absolute no value to you.
Every day, I am jealous of you that you get to go to that in Riyadh, and I'm equal parts so excited for you that you get to go to this very incredible cafe called That in Riyadh, and I get to watch with envy from afar that I can't go and visit. It's one of those cafes that really does hit a lot of the senses, right?
Absolutely. You should really be jealous because honestly, it's that's what we can call an experience.
Tell us why.
Why? Because first of all, when you walk in, this place has its own identity. It's not copying any other cafe. It has something different to it. And once you get to know what is different about it, you find very professional handling of your order, very professional preparation of your order by real experts in the industry, explaining to you not just the origin of your coffee, explaining to you how is it being brewed, what are the tools, what each tool does to your product, the one that you're going to get now. So for me, this engagement and this information makes the whole difference for me. Every question I ask has an answer by an expert. And on top of all of that, you are being served the best coffee you would have the whole week in a very classy I would say, utensils.
Mm-hmm.
If you decide to eat something, they're picking their bakeries and their edible goods from really one of the top and best places in Riyadh that
You can
I
say
haven't
Easy
tried.
Bakery. Easy Bakery.
Exactly.
And
I've never been there because of the queues. However, now I'm getting the product from that. So
so the for anyone who's listening, look up Easy Bakery on in the Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, on your socials. That's where the pastries come from, and the cakes are made by a private chef from a resort of one of the business partners. So it's excellence all around.
it is. It is. And that's, it's a soothing experience that you need once a week at least to
Mm.
go there, just, to disconnect and indulge, because it is an indulging
Mm.
experience.
Can
And
we
it just,
can we talk about that word indulgence from a sensory perspective, if you don't mind? I'm sorry that I cut you off there,
not at all.
but these kinds of words that you're using, soothing and indulgence, for me as an artist, these are poetic words that are connected to sensory experiences. And I feel that in the coffee world, we're not necessarily paying attention to how all of the experience, the end-to-end experience, evokes these kinds of words from customers. So can you talk a little bit more about indulgence and from a sensory perspective what that means?
So when we say the word
Mm-hmm.
indulging your senses, it means that the consumer is expecting an experience that is guilt-free. It's a zone that they would really spend money regardless of what is the product. And also, if we say, or we go back to the word guilt-free, because usually most of the indulging experiences has this, it has this guilty pleasures of
Oh, yeah.
something that is really, yeah, something that is really fatty or something that has a lot of calories. And this time of the day or the week, you decide to indulge yourself and just dive into these
Yeah.
things. And your senses would be so relieved by every flavor and aroma and appearance and sound sometimes, and also textures that are associated with this experience. So it's not just the product itself, it's the whole moment. We can say it's an indulging moment, starting from where you're sitting at, what you're smelling, the lighting in the place, the way the product is served to you, and then when you experience the product itself, you really dive in there and really, really indulge. And if
See,
I may
folks, this
relate,
is what I mean by poetic. Like this woman just takes you on a journey. I just want to be there having a coffee with you at that.
oh, believe me, that's the only feeling you will feel when you are there. Specifically, like, and if we actually link one concept to the indulging experience,
Mm,
let me just tell you a very short story.
mm,
I'm not a tea person, 0%. I don't like, I mean, I drink it, but I don't really enjoy
mm-hmm.
it. So I was invited to that cafe to try the specialty tea, in which the concept itself is totally new for me. And believe it or not, ever since, I am going there not for coffee, I'm
Oh,
going for tea.
really?
Yes. If you ask me why, again, it's the experience. Let's not deny the fact of the great quality of the tea served there and
Shout out
the
to
way it's
Bayan
prepared.
Teas, Ahmed from Bayan
Exactly.
Teas. Shout out to him. The training, the quality of the teas looks incredible, and yeah.
Absolutely. And the stories that comes with every cup, the origins of the tea, when was it, discovered first, the quality of the tea, how expensive and how how hard and how each leaf was rolled individually. I mean, those details no one would tell you unless they really know what they're talking about. And again, on top of that, one of the greatest tea you would ever try in your life. Honestly.
Did you have the
I mean,
24
I'm
karat
addicted.
gold?
Oh,
Have you had
yes,
that
I
one?
had that one. Yes.
I'm a tea person. I dream of experiencing that tea. The
It's
24 karat gold.
amazing.
Yeah, wow.
It's amazing. And for the very first time ever, when I tried tea, I really perceived different attributes. Something that it reflects really on the type of the teas selected and also the professionalism of handling that tea and preparing it. Like, that was my very first time ever not feeling any bitterness in the tea. It was not bitter at all, in which I liked, honestly.
Yeah. And look, like every day the water is measured at that.
Absolutely.
The pH, the solubility in the water, like there's a lot of testing that goes on behind the scenes on a daily basis to achieve the quality that has. Disclaimer, everybody knows this by now. I'm a consultant at that. So yes, I'm raving about it, but like,
you should,
please,
you should really be proud.
I'm proud of
Honestly,
Sada and her team. That's who I'm proud of. But the thing is, when Sada was putting together the whole experience for customers, it really was from a sensory perspective. The attention to detail that has gone into how do we evoke every sense in a tasteful way, but that really obviously and subtly tells you what the values of that are. Elegance is a value at that. You walk in and you see elegance everywhere. Elegance in the way that people speak to you, in the design of the place, in the way that coffee is served to you, in the flavor profile. Like when Sada tastes a coffee, she's not tasting it just for the flavor profile. She's tasting, can you taste the elegance in this coffee?
Exactly.
Can you taste the integrity? Can you taste the authenticity? Can you taste the tagline for that is celebrating people. And so being able to taste that in a cup is a really great way to evoke a sensory experience that connects back to your values.
Absolutely. And, every time there are two things that are way contradicting, yet they blend very well in this experience at that. So sophisticated, yet simple. It's just simple. It enters your heart. It indulges you and you just enjoy it.
One of my very first consulting gigs in the US was of a coffee brand who wanted their logo to be an octopus. And not just any kind of an octopus. It was an octopus who had the sea behind him and was carrying like a life-saving device. And I asked him, this octopus was going to be the first thing that you see. It was going to be a big mural painted on the wall. And I challenged him on that. And I said to him, I think that that's going to create a conflict for your customers' palates. And he said, I don't understand. I said, look, if this was a seafood shop and you were selling fish and chips, walking in here and seeing an octopus in front of me with the sea in the background makes sense. It's preparing my palate for something that's from the sea. But when I see an octopus and I'm going to drink coffee, there's no cohesion there. My brain is a little bit confused about what's going on here. And when my brain's confused, I'm not going to have the best sensory experience that I can from this coffee.
Absolutely.
And the reason he had the logo, he refused to change it. And he kept it because his family had a hardware store, and this was the logo for that hardware store, and he wanted to legacy in this logo. The business closed within 6 months because his customers just didn't get it. And so
Absolutely.
This is where I think sensory science is such a wonderful thing to understand when it comes to putting together a brand. You talked about lighting. I'd never thought about that before.
Actually, just hearing you now commenting about this failure or this unsuccessful story, it reminded me of a very important branch of sensory in which we call sensory branding or sensory marketing. There is a whole set of things that you can do right from the beginning to a business, like the consultations you were given. Yes, it is very important to link all the brand, like the logos, the colors, the furnitures as well, because it has a lot to do with your product at the end of the day. And this is how many chains actually design their dine-in places in relation or association with their offered items, whether they want people to sit for longer or it's just a fast food thing. The colors, the sounds, the playlist played there. So it all adds to the experience. So it has to be not done randomly by anyone working in the restaurant. No, it has to be studied and run carefully. Because these little details, specifically the ones that gets to the senses, they are the details that would make you come back to a place or never come back.
I would love to talk about sensory branding in the next episode. I think we can deep dive on this one because a lot of people underestimate how important it is to have a space that's well designed as an important element of a successful business. They just think, I'm going to go to IKEA, I'm going to buy everything from IKEA, and that's going to make people want to come back because it looks cool. There's so much more to it than that, right?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about it in the next episode.
Sure, let's do that.
Perfect. Peace, love, and peanut butter, everybody. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Map It Forward on Patreon and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.